These days, it can be hard to trust the media. What's true, what's fake, and who is behind the message? I'm a freelance journalist and videographer who has spent years studying the media. Now I'm taking a look at what local, regional, and national news stories mean to us here in North Central Washington. I'm Dominick Bonny, and this is Common Sense. Hello and welcome to Common Sense. I'm Dominick Bonny, and today we're going to be talking about taking stock. As we begin to emerge from the COVID-19 pandemic and life starts to return to something resembling normal, it's important that we take time to reflect and record our individual experiences so that we can understand how this community was impacted. And we have the perfect opportunity and tool to do that through the Our Valley, Our Future, Stronger Together project. Here's a short promotional video I produced for the project to help get the word out.
The coronavirus has brought a lot of issues to the surface for all of us in Chelan and Douglas counties. Now, as we emerge from this crisis, it's time to come together as a community and as a region and begin planning for the future. Our Valley, Our Future has embarked on a year-long outreach effort, leading to a new action plan of projects and programs that will help build up this community we love. We'd like to hear how COVID-19 has had an impact on you and your sense of well-being, and what you believe needs to occur if the community is to successfully overcome the challenges that the pandemic has brought. The process will provide you with an opportunity to be heard, to heal, to hope, to frame your needs, and to plan for a better future. Have a say, be heard, shape the future. Please take the Our Valley, Our Future survey and learn of other ways you can participate at www.ourvalleyourfuture.org.
Everyone has a COVID story because everyone was impacted, not only from an economic or public health standpoint, but also socially, emotionally, and psychologically. Our Valley, Our Future is an organization that is offering everyone in this region an opportunity to do just that through the Our Valley Stronger project. The goal is to gather input about the changes you want to see in our region over the next 5 years. The data is being gathered in a variety of ways, including in-person outreach work through online meetings, forums, coffee hours, town halls, and listening sessions in both English and Spanish, of course. Much of the input from residents will be gathered electronically due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and the main tool to collect answers to specific questions will be the online survey, which you can find a link to in the show notes of this episode if you go to NCWLIFE.com and find Common Sense under the Full Episodes tab. Steps are also being taken to gather input from residents who do not readily have access to technology. So if you don't have access to the internet or a computer or a device to fill out the survey, there are options for you. I recently met up with David Olson, the president of the board of directors for the Our Valley, Our Future project, and the project coordinator, Steve Marr, to learn more about the project, its impact on our region so far, and how they hope this survey process will help shape and change our community in the next 5 years. Let's take a look.
Our Valley, Our Future is basically an organization that collects information, input, and ideas from everybody in the local community, kind of brings that all together, and then tries to partner with other organizations to make those plans become a reality.
And this most recent survey campaign, what are you trying to accomplish with it? What information are you looking for?
We're looking for a lot of different kinds of information. We're calling this project Our Valley Stronger because, like a lot of places, we've been hit by the COVID crisis, but also like a lot of places to live, we want to come out of this stronger, better, having learned what things we can do to just make this a better place to live.
In terms of the overall goal, we're trying to improve the quality of life for everybody here. And when I say everybody, I truly mean everybody. And when I say here, I mean the entire region. The projects we have that ultimately will be in our action plan are spread across 6 focus areas. And we do that purposely because we want this to be a very holistic community plan for the future. So the focus areas would include things that you would expect, like jobs, the economy, planning, growth, housing, but also other things such as conservation, sustainability, arts and culture, outdoor recreation, education, healthcare, public safety, and even governance will be in our plan, different projects and programs to elevate that. These projects and programs also in the new plan, as they were in the first plan, are meant to be things that are either not happening now in the community and in the region, or things that maybe have gone to the side and haven't been worked on in a while. We're not trying to replicate anything, duplicate anything, take anyone else's thunder. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to find these gaps that need to be filled to make this a better place for everybody.
The thing that I think is very important is that we don't want to just take one group of persons' ideas and input. Whether you've lived here all your life, whether you moved here last week, whether you're young, you're old, Hispanic, Anglo, just everybody, we want to get input. And then we'll take that input and we'll bring people together to talk about it, discuss it. Basically, this is a combination of information gathering, planning, visioning. How can we take this input from people and make it a reality?
Yeah. And how will this process benefit members of our community?
Well, we're asking people, what is it that we could do to make this a better place to live? We're asking people, how has the COVID crisis, or frankly other things, affected you? And what can we learn from that? What can we take away from that and come out even stronger? So how it would benefit is we're going to ask people what they think would be best for the community. And then we're going to see what can we do to make that happen.
How long is this process? What kind of response have you had so far, and what's the goal?
The goal again is to make it a better place for everybody, so that this community and our individual communities within the entire region thrive. When we did this back in 2015-16, we ended up having, believe it or not, about 160 projects and programs in our plan spread across 6 focus areas. As of December of this past year, about 100 of those 160 had seen their objectives met. And so there's been major movement. A lot of this stuff is kind of behind the scenes, and so maybe not as public as you would think, in terms of organizations working on things, but there's been major movement here. And I would say from a very collaborative standpoint, we've had, with those 160 projects, there was, in that first plan, there was about 70 lead partner organizations. That is something else that makes what we're doing here with this community plan different than other communities. A lot of communities go through visioning exercises, and they brainstorm and they come up with all these great ideas, and then a lot of times those ideas sit on a shelf somewhere. By going out and seeking lead partners who will take on these projects and programs, work them, see them to fruition, you create real teeth and real action and real movement. And so that's another big part of this, is that you really, ultimately, you want to come up with these great ideas, you want to come up with things that will make things better for everybody, but you've also got to have some organization behind it, making sure that there's action taking place.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's the goal as far as response to this? In what communities are you looking for response? Is this the entire Wenatchee Valley? I know that you had Mayor Floria from Leavenworth speak at the press conference. So this is a whole community up and down valley initiative, right?
Yeah, and we've never drawn a line around our valley on purpose, because when you do that, you exclude folks. There are also certain things that you can really never draw a line, like the economy. How can you draw a line around an economy, right? So we've never drawn a line around things. When we first did this back in 2015-16, frankly, most of our responses back then came from the greater Wenatchee area. And so a lot of the projects and programs that were in that first action plan basically were for folks in the greater Wenatchee area. I mean, there were some that were outside the area, and some of the projects were definitely regional in scope, so they impacted folks, whether you lived in Leavenworth or Chelan or Waterville, you still were impacted by them. But again, largely most of the responses we got back then were from the greater Wenatchee area folks. This time we're seeing the outreach and the responses are coming from further away. The survey results, we're still involved in the survey. We've had about 600 people complete it so far, and about 20% of those respondents are from the Upper Wenatchee Valley. About 7 or 8% are from Chelan. So we're starting to see this thing grow beyond just the greater Wenatchee area. And the benefit of that is, obviously it becomes more of a regional thing, but also these outlying communities, places like Leavenworth, outlying from Wenatchee, Leavenworth, Chelan, the information that's going to be generated we're going to be able now to develop some projects and programs that are specific to those communities. And so things are starting to expand here, and it's not surprising, because when you start something this big and this audacious, you got to start somewhere, right? And we're now going out, which is great because it is one place. This is one community, and it's one region, and so the plan should reflect that.
Hi, Stephen DeVilbiss here, Branch Manager of Beneficial and Home Care. We are an equal opportunity employer, and we do not discriminate in employment or services. It is our mission to maximize our clients' physical health and sense of mental well-being while remaining in the comfort of their home. We are currently seeking professional caregivers who share our mission to help our clients live safely and comfortably at home. Call Beneficial and Home Care. Schedule your interview today. 509-663-7900.
By working together as a community, we can all play a part in promoting children's well-being and strengthening families. April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month. Chelan Douglas CASA is dedicated to supporting families and reducing the risk of child abuse and neglect. Join us in our community-wide Pinwheel project and help keep kids safe. If you suspect a child is being abused or neglected, please call 1-866-363-4276.
Right now, get $500 off stressless signature base recliners or recliners with classic power, and $200 off new motorized stressless Max and Mike recliners, the latest great innovation from Stressless. Plus, get $200 off each stressless Mary and Emily sofa seat. Celebrate 50 years of stressless comfort and save at Boswell's, 2915 Easy Street in Wenatchee.
Hi, this is Brian Snyder with Black Rock Asphalt Services here in Wenatchee, your local Black Rock Seal Coat company. Have you looked at your driveway or parking lot lately? Is it gray and oxidized? Does it have cracks that have not been taken care of? Or do you have striping that is pretty much non-existent? Please give us a call locally here, 509-665-9769. Learn more at blackrockasphaltsealcoating.com.
Welcome back. Before the break, we heard a little bit about the Our Valley, Our Future project and what they hope to achieve with the Our Valley Stronger project, as well as how effective the organization has been over the last 5 years in getting their action plans instituted in our community. Let's jump right back into that conversation and learn more. We have a diverse community, so how are you reaching, the Latinx community as well as the Anglo community? That's my first question, and then
Sure.
I'll ask my second one.
Well, we're using many different techniques or strategies, if you will, to reach as many people as possible. For some people, they're taking our survey online. For other people, we're actually meeting with groups in person. This past weekend, in partnership with Parque Padrinos, there were about 70 people, mostly from the Latinx community, that answered questions, kind of like a focus group. Some people are going to be engaged one-on-one or in person. Some people just are going to be engaged online. We're trying to educate people, that's the main thing, and give them as many types of options when it comes to finding out more about this, getting engaged. We've had some partnerships with the libraries. I think the museum is involved as well. We're having people share this with employees at businesses. We're going to be reaching out to churches to see what they can do to help us get the word out. We want to have as diverse and inclusive a group of people being involved as possible.
We've had really good partnerships and support with groups like Parque Petrinos, Hand in Hand Immigration Services, and CAFE, and they've been outstanding. One of the big successes of that first action plan was of the folks who participated in the survey back then, in our other outreach work, about 23% self-identified as Latino. And we're seeing now that number is going to be even greater this time. Probably going to be closer to 30%. And so this truly is an entire community effort, and it's something that we're really serious about in terms of making sure everybody is involved and everybody has a chance to say something. This past Friday, we had an amazing event at Met Howe Park with the help of Parque Petrinos, which is the South Wenatchee neighborhood group. We had a focus group session, and we had 70 folks turn out on a Friday night at the park, and we had food, and each group kind of went to a different part of the park and had a focus group, and they did it for about an hour and a half, and it was amazing to listen to the responses and to hear and to see who was there. You know, it was a largely Latinx community, but kids from 15 years on up to, you know, seniors, and so it was an amazing event, and to hear their aspirations for this place, you know, why they love this place, and what they see as things that will improve their lives and the overall community was overwhelming in a way, you know, and it made me feel really, really good about what we have here and where we're going.
So after the survey process is finished and you have this information, how will it be used?
Well, 5 years ago, we did this process for the first time. We're kind of replicating that. We're bringing together both community members and business leaders, community leaders, and we're going to have them walk through this information with us. And what will come out of that is a list of action items, strategies, and we'll figure out and reach out to people who can essentially take those good ideas, take that vision, and then do something with it so that it happens. Whether it has to do with housing or healthcare or the economy, jobs, just a lot of different things. You know, I think we've all heard the saying, you know, it takes a village. Actually, it takes a city and a county. It takes a community. And so our plan is to help not just listen to the community and help them bring their ideas forward, but then get the community to help us figure out the best way to make those ideas happen. The main thing I want to get across is this is our valley, but that makes it your valley. And so I just want as many people to contribute as possible. I don't want somebody to, a year or two from now, say, well, I wish they had done something different. Tell us what you want. Tell us what you don't want. Give us your input, because this really is your valley.
We're taking all this information, and some of the questions we're asking are the same questions we asked 5-6 years ago. So we're going to be able to tell how opinions and views of here have changed, and even ones that are not related to the pandemic. And so that will help shape what's in the new plan. It'll also help us shape and decide which projects and programs in the existing plan should be carried over to the next one. I can tell you right now that housing is another big issue, and so housing likely will again have a prominent role in the new plan. And how that, the shape of that, and you know how it's structured, you know, I can't say yet, but you know, that's an example of something where views have not really changed, right? Housing, if anything, is probably, we're in a worse situation today than we were 5 or 6 years ago. But that's how we're going to do it. And so it's based on, you know, what people have told us. In addition to the survey, we're doing these focus groups like I just mentioned. We've been doing some online forums that are specific to each community in the 2-county area. And with the help of NCW libraries. In June, we're going to be doing a couple hybrid panel discussions in partnership with Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center that are going to be, the first one is going to be on reimagining the arts, because of, a lot of different sectors have taken big hits during the pandemic, the arts being one. And so some things have happened there that we're going to kind of project into the future a little bit. And then there'll be another one that will be about how change is here. There's been a lot of change, technological, economic, social change over the past year and a half. And how has that impacted companies and organizations here, and what have they done to adapt to that? The outreach portion is going to end sometime in July, and we'll probably then take a break for about a month, and then the two citizen committees, we're calling them action teams, will convene in September. They're the ones who are going to help us analyze this information and help develop new projects and programs, and also help us decide which projects and programs should be carried over from the first plan. People should be really interested in taking this survey because of what happened with the first plan, and that was, I mentioned earlier, about 100 of the 160 projects have seen real movement, their objectives have been met, and these are things like, Pinnacles Prep is in there, and so the redevelopment of Mount Howe Park was in there in the first action plan. The technology hub was in there. Wenatchee Valley Tread, the recreation trails group, that was in the first plan. There's so many things that have happened as a result of that plan. So, people's input is getting what people need and say, they want and need for this place to thrive and for their own individual families to thrive is being transcribed and put into this plan, and then things are happening. And so it is really showing that, we've got things moving here, and your voice really does matter. It's a different kind of process, but it's working here.
Yeah, and then on the survey too, I want to mention briefly, talk about the option to, I believe you can check a box, and we're going to be working on a documentary project, in partnership with Vortex Videography, and then kind of overseen or helped, ran by the Chamber of Commerce. So can you explain maybe how, if folks want to get involved in that and even become a part of that documentary, how they can do that?
Yeah, so the survey, it'll take about 15 to 20 minutes complete. We asked some questions, again, that were the same questions we asked 5-6 years ago, which were, what is the greatest weakness of this place, greatest strength, what future challenges do you see, what do you value most about living here, and then what one vision idea you have. We also, because of the pandemic, asked a series of questions about COVID, how it's impacted their own lives, and how they see it has impacted the community's situation. And we also asked folks, do you have any stories to tell? And if they do, they can fill in, short, like a paragraph or so of their story. If they want to add more, and they have an even greater story that they think should be heard or told, they can put their email address in there, and then we'll go through that later when the thing is completed, and most likely go back to not everybody, because you're talking about hundreds of people here, but some people, and then do a follow-up interview, for they can tell more of their story of basically how they've what happened to them during the pandemic, and then kind of how they've come out of it and where they are today. I just think, the overall thing is this is a great opportunity for folks to really have their voice heard, and for it to turn into something that is more than just talk, or that's something that sits on a shelf, because there is action behind these items. And based on what we did the first go around, there's been a lot of improvements made here as a result of this plan. And so I think, again, the more people who participate, the better. And it's important to hear from everybody. It doesn't matter who you are, what you do, where you live. We want to hear from you.
Processes like this are literal examples of democracy in action. Democracy in action isn't just elected officials making decisions for the rest of us. Democracy in action is informing those elected officials about what the communities they serve want and need. We need to see more of this type of holistic, comprehensive data collection in rural communities across the country. Polls that give the major media outlets in New York and LA a snapshot of how people feel about a candidate or issue on the 24-hour news channels are skin deep and inadequate tools for the kind of understanding we need and deserve after the COVID-19 pandemic. Really understanding a community like ours, or any community for that matter, cannot be done by someone calling in on the phone from New York or LA. Really understanding a community, collecting its stories, and presenting those facts and stories to those in power who can then make better informed decisions for the benefit of the majority is better done from within the community you are trying to serve. I was impressed by a few things throughout this process. The first thing that impressed me was the fact that Leavenworth Mayor Carl Floria is involved, and there's buy-in from that community. At the press conference, when this process was kicked off, he literally said the Wenatchee Valley community is just that, one community. From my experience here in North Central Washington, there has been a marked lack of cohesion between the upper and lower valley communities, and it's good to see platforms and opportunities arise that allow for consensus building as well as community bonding. The other thing I found impressive was the fact that earlier in May, Our Valley, Our Future partnered with Parque Padrinos, a grassroots Latinx community group at the Met Howe Park, to hold a focus group primarily for the Latino community living in South Wenatchee, and about 70 people showed up. Steve said the mix of ages was inspiring to see, and the conversations they had were also inspiring to hear. It's proof that an information gathering process like this is doing needed work, and almost as importantly, desired work by groups within our community. I encourage you to learn more about the Our Valley Stronger project and get involved. You can start by filling out the survey online at ourvalleyyourfuture.org and go to the Our Valley Stronger project tab. And like I mentioned in the interview, we will be working on a documentary project featuring selected stories and experiences of folks from throughout our community about how COVID-19 crisis affected them. If you are filling out the survey and would like to participate in that doc, you can check a box near the end and share some of your experiences. Then a producer might be in touch later this summer. Join me next time for more Common Sense.
Arctic Refrigeration and Heating has been providing heating and cooling services in our valley since 1984. Arctic offers a variety of refrigeration and heating services, proudly now selling Bryant systems. Heating and air conditioning for your home or business. Commercial refrigeration service for your coolers, freezers, and prep tables. And now, full service on gas fireplaces for your home or business. Whatever it takes, Arctic Refrigeration and Heating, the temperature experts.
Your search for quality patio furniture with excellent customer service is over. Blue Lagoon is proud to offer only the finest outdoor furniture and accessories from some of the most renowned manufacturers in the industry. Our showroom showcases a large selection of in-stock furniture, fire pits, umbrellas, cushions, and outdoor accessories. Our in-house outdoor decor specialist is available to help you design and custom order the perfect furniture for your unique space.
Hi, I'm Chuck Dronan, Managing Member at Eplodolin Retirement and Assisted Living. It's been a tough year for all of us, but especially for those working and living in senior care facilities. Over the course of these many difficult months, our staff at Eplodolin has been vigilant in adhering to federal and state guidelines to protect and assure the safety of our residents and their caregivers. If you're in need of assisted living for a loved one, give us a call at Eplodolin. We're here for you.
Yes, we would all love to have a crystal ball to tell us precisely where the local economy and real estate market is headed in 2021 and in the near future. However, what we do have here at NCWLIFE Channel are local experts we connect with every week to give us the inside scoop on all you need to know about your home and our local real estate market. Join me each week while we find out what's happening in the greater Wenatchee Valley. I'm your host, Crystal Hughes, and you are watching At Home with NCWLIFE.
Badger Mountain Brewing is proud to announce the grand opening of our new kitchen. Come try out our new menu featuring fabulous steaks, prime rib, gourmet burgers, and seafood grilled up by experienced meat master, Chef Galen Goodman. To complement your mouth-watering meal, Badger Mountain Brewing features 14 in-house crafted beers, an alcohol-free root beer infused with 11 different herbs and spices, 3 different ciders, and a great wine selection. Don't miss out on the best meats and the best brews down at Badger Mountain Brewing.
Located at 1 Orondo Avenue across the tracks from the Pybus Market.